Hey everybody, Daniel Fusco here, and welcome to today's 2-minute message. So I want to talk with you today about something that often we don't think about, but we need to, because it's a very important concept, and that's the difference between God's glory and then human glory. Now, when you think about what glory is when you're talking about making much of something. So if you think about from a sports perspective, the team that wins the Super Bowl in football, the World Series in baseball, the championship in the Olympics, someone who wins the gold medal, that moment when they're on the podium or they're receiving the trophy, that is a moment of glory where you're being rewarded for what you've accomplished. And in a lot of ways, listen, humans seeking after glory is normal. It's part of being human. But there is a difference between the way humans glorify and what humans get made much of for and God's glory. And the idea really is it's a question of where do we find our self-worth and where do we find our identity. What I want to tell you is this, that no matter how much achievement you have, no matter how much glory in a human sense you've received, unless you live your life for God's glory, all of those things that you are achieving always feels like it's just not quite enough. Why? Because we realize that we do not live unto ourselves, but we are designed by God to live for His glory. The very fact that we're alive. Humanity, I like to say that we're the image bearers of God. That's what the creation account in Genesis says, that God created man and women in His image according to His own likeness. And what that means is that each human being has an inherent glory that is God-given because we've been created in the image and likeness of God. And the problem for humanity comes when we seek human glory above the glory that God deserves. And any human achievement, ultimately, if you believe what the Scripture says, can be traced back to a God who created and sustained humanity and a God who has given unique gifts. But when a person fails to acknowledge God in the equation, that is pride, that is self-exaltation, that is self-worship, and ultimately what the Bible calls that is idolatry. When you ascribe to something or someone other than God the very things that God deserves the glory for. Now, the reason I think that this is so important is because, remember I said, if you live for only human glory, only human achievement, without God's glory, all of your achievement will never satisfy you. The reason that's so important is we're seeing this every single day, and you and I are seeing it in our own lives, aren't we? That no matter what you achieve, you never actually feel like you've done enough. You never really feel like your worth is valued. We have a self-worth crisis. And the reason we have a self-worth crisis is we're seeking to achieve human glory apart from God's glory. And when that happens, I'm here to tell you it's a fool's errand. We can give kids participation trophies all we want. We can give every child an A in every class, no matter what their grade was or their effort level was. We can give every single person a raise every single time, no matter if they're doing a good job or bad. And guess what? It's still not going to satisfy the deepest longings of the soul, because all of those achievement markers, divorced from God's glory, leaves us feeling there's something missing. Why? Because the only way we feel truly satisfied is when we can acknowledge God in the midst of our human achievement. Now, I realize not everyone might believe what I just said, but I want you to think about it, because the only way humanity works is when we walk in the truth, because Jesus is the truth, and God's glory is an essential part of the equation. So this is what we do. First, I want you to share this message, because this idea of human glory and God's glory, it's very, very important for the way the world is designed to work. And in the comment section, I want you to tag somebody who you see is doing a great job of making sure God is glorified in all the things that they're achieving. Tag them and say, listen, I'm so grateful for the witness and the story of how God is using you. And we're going to be able to rejoice in the way God uses people. And God bless you today.